put in there about making ice cream every Saturday night?
Every Saturday night? No.
We used to all gather the Stanfords, and every Saturday night they'd bring 2 or 3 freezers, and we'd make about 3 freezers of ice cream. Taking that much for all the kids and the grandkids and what have you. And we'd eat ice cream. Mom, somebody would bake a homemade pound cake. And my mother would go in the house and build a fire. I don't care if it's 4th of July, and sit there and eat ice cream because she'd get cold. And we had fun, but we had to work hard. Did I put in there about having picked those geese, or did I?
Pluck the chickens?
No, geese. We had geese and we made all our feather beds and pillows. And I did or not.
Go ahead.
Well, we raised geese when we first moved there on our home place, Stanford Place. And my mother, before winter set in, you always have to pick your geese because if you pick them too late, they'll freeze to death. And I'd have to hold them, put the head under my arm and hold their feet while she picked them. And just about the time I'd get them off, they'd go out the back, right on me. Mom would pick those feathers and then she would wash them, make feather beds and make feather pillows. Boy, you get in those winter time, we sat down in a little feather bed and it was just like sinking down on a cloud. And we slept on the mosquito bars because the mosquitoes were so prevalent in Louisiana, you had to. Oh, I met my friend that's still living when I was 4 years old. They had moved in, they was renting, and they had a peach tree. And we didn't have any fruit. And I kept hollering, I want a peach, I want a peach. And my mother says, I'll get you when I get you home, you better shut up. I kept hollering, and the lady came out and brought me some peaches. And she, a little girl came out with her. She was blonde hair, blue-eyed and fair, and I was black hair, brown-eyed and dark. We made a pair. And we became fast friends, and then we were both, she was 5 and I was 4. And she's 78 and a half now, and I'm 77 and a half, and we're still friends. Been friends for over about 65 years.
What's her name?
Her name was, maiden name was Estelle Gates, and the married name was Ms. Rand Gowan, R-A-N-D-G-O-W-A-N. Her husband passed away about a year ago in Emphysema. We've been friends about 70 years. We contact everyone, but once in a while we'll contact each other. Oh, I have to tell you this. Every time it rained, we couldn't work in the field. That was after Mama died and I was staying home and my 2 brothers taking care of them and working like a mule. And he'd say, come on, Selma, we've got to go to kill some squirrels. And I says, I don't want to have no part of that. Well, they would have their shotguns. And if I'd be on this side of the tree, you can shake a tree, and the squirrel will run on the other side, you know that. Well, then they'd get it, pow! And I had to be the tree shaker for the squirrels. And they all love squirrels, my folks, except me. I never did like squirrels. And at Christmas time, we'd always decorate our house with holly. And we never had a Christmas tree, but we decorated, we'd go down on our farm. We had a big holly grove. I guess it was, probably about 40 feet wide and about 200 feet long. None of them were just holly trees, and they were 60 or 70 feet tall. And we would go down there and cut branches off them and decorate our house with holly. And we'd string popcorn and put it around in the house. We didn't have many gifts. There wasn't no money for gifts. And my mother, I have to tell you this, my mother there was no such thing as brooms. The first broom she ever got, she didn't know what to do with it. Where the brooms like we sweep a floor with now. She used to cut, we had a broom sage field on our farm. And she used to go down and have me go down and cut this broom sage. It was about 5 feet tall, and you cut it, and then she would wrap it at the bottom, and that's what we swept the floors with. And we took branches from the trees and tied them together to make brooms to sweep the yard with. The yard had to be swept every week, just like, because my brother sat down through their cigarette butts out on the yard. We had a great big long porch on the front of our house. We always had a lot of potted plants. My brother built a great big long shelf about 6 feet one way and about 6 feet another. We had it full of all kind of potted plants. Oh, and my mother, when she'd get me, we had a willow tree in the yard. She'd say, you go cut me a switch. I had to cut the switches that she's going to switch me with. And oh, she'd switch my legs and work that sting. And I'd start running. She says, if you run, I'll catch you later and I'll give you 2 instead of 1. I'd run every time. But whenever she did catch me, I would get 2 spankings instead of 1. But I had to cut those switches that I was going to get a switching with. And she had a place up on the top of this. We didn't have ceilings in our house, and it had an old tin roof, and it was hotter than everything. She'd put that switch up there, and when she'd get mad at me out here, rank, and I knew what was coming. I'd start running. She'd put it up there, and she'd pull it out, and it would make a sound, and I'd start. And I used to climb a tree, and she couldn't get me. Sometimes I'd stay up there for hours. She said, I'll get you when you come down anyway. And whenever she would go to my brother, sometime I wouldn't want to go with her. In order to keep them working, when she came home and going to the fields, I'd turn the horses and mules out of the horse lock. And when they got out of the pasture, you couldn't catch them. They'd come home, my brothers didn't want to catch them. Those mules, you couldn't get near them. They wouldn't come to the house until it got dark to be fed. Well, how'd they get out? Well, I don't know. Who left the gate open? It wasn't me. I knew if they went to the fields, I had to get the old gooseneck hoe and go hoe if there wasn't nothing to hoe. My brother kept that field as clean as a floor. There couldn't a tie vine grow in it. In case you don't know what a tie vine is, it's a little miniature morning glory just about the size of a quarter. And in one night, it can cover up a 5-foot cotton stalk of cotton. And we had to cut them. Had a little blue flower just about the size of a quarter or half a dollar. We call them tie vines, but there's nothing miniature morning glories. We had covey of quails on our place. We'd just go out in our field anytime we wanted to and kill quail. We call them Bob White. Kill a whole platter of Bob White. My mother would cook them and make a big batch of hot biscuits and gravy, and we'd have sliced tomatoes and butter beans and green onions and cucumbers and great big molasses cake, and then maybe that night we'd make a great big freezer of ice cream. My mother loved ice cream. 2 things I can remember her. She loved ice cream and apples. Never had no apples because you couldn't buy them in the town then, and she couldn't grow them. Unless it's cool weather, you can't grow apples, and we couldn't grow them in Louisiana, but we had a lot of fruit trees. We had peach on our place that I've never seen it since before. They said when you peeled it, it was blood red. They called it the Indian peach. She claimed it, and boy, it really did make. And, that's all I know about that. I'll probably think of something else some more in my life. My life was when I was a child on now. That isn't worth it. If you have too much sorrow and heartache, I wouldn't record it, I don't think. Whenever I was having time trying to raise darling and work, get a babysitter, not come home to babysit. Something on your father's side of the family that y'all should know. There was 4 girls and 2 boys in her father's family. And Miss Sharp went deaf whenever she was after she passed through menopause. And 1, 2, 3 of the girls went deaf. Well, the last I heard, the other wasn't. And Darlene's father went deaf when he was about 60, so that left 2 out of them. So it seemed to be a genetic factor that they lose their hearing. And I mean lose it completely. They always wearing hearing aids. That was in Darlene's father's family. But they didn't, Mr. Sharp, seemed to be coming from the mother's side of the family. And Darlene might not know this. John and Bill and their mother was going to town in a buggy. And she was delivering the other stuff. That's where she got the money. And Bill was on the back of the buggy, and John was sitting out the front with his mother. He was about 10 or 12 years old. And Bill waved to a girl. And John turned around and says, Bill's got a girlfriend, and pushed him. You know how the kids will push each other. And he fell into the buggy wheel. And Miss Sharp said she could not get that old horse to stop. He just twisted his leg off. So they had to amputate it. And he always wore artificial leg or used crutches. He was 8, I think, and John was 10.
Who are Bill and John?
Well, now John's Darlene's father.
Mm. Oh, okay.
Bill was John's brother. And she had 2 boys and 4 girls. Kate, Della, Maria, and Nicky. John pushed him into the buggy wheel and twisted his leg off. They were just playing. I don't know much about the Sharks. I don't know much about the Stampers. There's a little bit of a Stamper lineage in there. I gave it all to you. I just kept these records here that I want to keep that I have to have, or if I have to have data or something. So I remember, I don't know much about John's people and the Stampers either. I know that we have a lot of relatives out in California, but they were the rich ones. I understand they're so phony to their family. I told you about fording the river. Yeah. Now the letter my sister wrote, she said we forded the river. We traveled in a covered wagon, but she didn't remember fording that river, and I did. Now, what are you taking, just pictures?
I'm listening to you too.
Oh, just talk, rattling on. Damping your brains, as they say in Louisiana.
How about the time you saw a covered or your first covered bridge?
Covered bridge? Oh, they don't have covered bridge in Louisiana. They brought down. You mean a bridge?
You saw a covered bridge somewhere.
Oh, that was over here in Indiana. Harry and I went over there and spent the day. Covered bridge over here in Indiana. They have a lot of covered bridges over here, about 50 miles. A lot of covered bridges, but not in Louisiana. They brought down the week of the termites that eat them up. I got protection quick. I told you about putting the ear to the ground and you could see and hear. Didn't I? That my mother taught me.
I don't think so.
Well, she taught me to when I was coming home at night from my brothers. She says, if you want to, is anybody up there walking around, you put your ear to the ground and you can hear them and you can do it. Not in town. And you can also, the ground about that, I was telling you, I don't think you recorded. About that far above the ground is just as light as daylight. It used to be, I don't know if it is now or not. And you could see their feet, but you couldn't see nothing else. She taught me that. I think it's in there, in that writing there. I wrote a lot of stuff. I started out writing it. Darlene wanted me to tell her a lot about my life, and as I would think of things, I'd write them down. Sometimes I dated them. And I wrote that in there, I think, what my mother taught me. And she could tell you what the weather's going to be tomorrow by watching the animals. And my brothers used to hunt a lot, and they didn't have a compass in those days. But finally, one of them got a compass because it got lost in the woods. The wood was so heavy. And you know how you can get out of the woods? By watching which side of the tree the moss grows on. And they'd know where the town was, and they'd follow that moss on the trees, and then they usually came out. We had fun. Fishing, hunting, gathering pecans, wild walnuts, pepper nuts, shaky pins, May apples, mayhaws. Oh, well, I remember one that my brother told me. Now let me see if I can get it straight. I can't, I just remember snatches of it. This young man nailed himself to the tombstone, and he said if he stayed there so long, they would give him something. What was it? Oh. He was this young man courting a girl, and he'd come home walking to the cemetery. In those days, then, he'd be kind of jealous of his pretty girl in the country. They all wanted to court him. They called it courting. So he'd come by the cemetery, and he was a little bit afraid, so he'd always whistle when he'd come by there. And he said, oh, I knew when he was coming by. So they would go out, and they would be, one night they went out and was in this cemetery, and they run out in the middle of the road with a sheet over. They said, that man, they said that man outran himself practically. He ran so fast. And he never did come by that cemetery no more. Never did. I had to go to school by a place that had a lot of dogs, and they always put a block and tackle on them where they couldn't, they'd always take after me. And I could outrun them. But my mother told me, says, you better block and tackle those dogs. Every time Selma goes by, they'd come out in the window, they're either going to tackle her or they're going to kill her. And I'd walk all the way around about a mile to get past that house. That's where that black man was that was chasing me. And they had about 5 or 6 old hounds around there. They put a chain on their leg with a square block of wood. And of course, when they run, it would hit their legs. They couldn't run very fast and catch anything. Because they were very vicious, they would attack you. And they'd always come out when they see me coming. They'd come out in the middle of the road and wouldn't let me by. That's another snatch. I can't remember anything else. I told you about what somebody told me that the couch was ice cream, and I believed it. Oh, that sure is a lot of ice cream up there. My brother told me, he says, you know, he says, that's ice cream. You get up there, what fun you could have, because he knew how I loved ice cream. Oh, and my girlfriend would never go to school because she wanted to play dolls, and I wouldn't. And I ran every step of the way to school, and she didn't want to. They called me frisky. And I had to make my own toys. I had a thing, I don't know what you call it. It was a long stick, and it had, you know, barrel staves. You know how to go all the way around a barrel. I'd cut that stave in two till I'd have a curved piece like this. And then I would get me a round wheel, metal wheel. I don't know what it came off of. And I would roll that all the way to school, 3 miles. And I'd roll it back home running. And I made traps to catch birds and things with. I never did catch anything. I never could get the finesse before to throw it. And I said they never was under there. I would have let them out, but I just did things like that. I'd start out. You've seen me, and I never saw a picture of what's those things they have over in Egypt.
Pyramids?
Pyramid. Mine looked just like a pyramid, and I never had seen a pyramid in my life. It would be wider as it came up. It tapered. And I had a thing over here that, here was where the trigger was. If they pecked this grain of corn, this would forward. I had to go in here and peck the grain of corn, and it would drop the thing. But I never did get it where it would drop down on them. They'd get out money to get my grain of corn and get away. I could make all those. I had my own. My brother finally, after I got older, he let me have a 12-gauge shot. No, it wasn't a shotgun. What was it? It only shoot one time. What kind of gun is that? Terrible, no. Did you know a rifle that just shoots one time?
You just call it a single barrel.
I had a single barrel. It was a shotgun because it didn't shoot pellets. It shot a bullet. Boy, I could get a bullseye with it. At least got me one. And every time you go to town, I'd say, bring me some candy. And he says, your name shouldn't have been sell me, it should have been buy me. Buy me some candy. Buy me some candy. You gonna go down and see those things? It would be grist with a mill. She'd use it too.
Yeah, I'm sure she would.
What good would it do? You wouldn't. If you're salving your conscience, later on it will only hurt you. You would be an outcast. So just cool it and keep it to yourself. You've lived this long, and I'm sure that you can finish it the rest of your life. Keep it to yourself. Tell nobody nothing. It's nobody's business anyway.
No, it really isn't.
It's nobody's business anyway. Why would you tell your mother? Your mother, I don't think, could handle it. She gets all shook up, and she's always having something catastrophic happen. She's always having a crisis.
One after the other.
That when, I know she's had a rough time, and she's had some hard knocks. But if you will take my advice, you will keep it to yourself, because you're going to be you'll be an outcast. So that's my word of caution. These things won't stay up. They used to stay up, and they won't anymore. Don't say nothing to nobody. If anybody says anything, say, well, I'm just one of those that don't. I've seen so much about marriage, I don't care to get married because it don't last very long. The ink don't dry on the lines until they run to get the divorce.
No, I just tell Mom and Dad that they've used up my quota of marriages.
Just leave it that way, because you will see that I'm right. You will be an outcast completely. And oh boy, well, that's friend Tanner used that. And so would Darlene. Darlene's got a big mouth. I told one time, I said, if you want anything known, I says, and I had a brother like that, and I loved him. I told him one day, I says, Dad, burn it. I says, I don't have to take out an ad in the old Grove newspaper. I says, just tell you, and I says, it spreads like wildfire. I'm close-mouthed. I'm one of the Stanfords that's close-mouthed.
Well, in a couple of years, you're probably going to be needing to move from Gainesville anyway, find a better job.
I bet you eventually will come back north.
Maybe. Depends on what the job opportunities look like.
I'll be
and
gone.
boy, telling Mom what she doing
her,
that would be good incentive for me to get out.
I said, well, you tell her you're crazy. You're crazier than I thought. I thought you was pretty smart. It looks like they got to run, doesn't it? See that dead leg? That circle? Sure looks like it. Or else it's heat burn. I wish this year missing the fire line, and it will not. This branch does not weave back together. It takes you 3 years. But anyway, I just want to come out and caution you again. Keep it to yourself. There's a lot of things I've kept to myself all these years, and it wouldn't solve no problems. And it don't make problems for yourself and big ones. Because boy, that would. The grist mill would start grinding, and anybody had anything against you. And Darlene, I learned not to tell Darlene anything that I don't want spread. I love her, she's my daughter, but I don't tell her anything. It's really important, because I told her one time, I said, you're like an old woman. I got things in my heart. If I told her my family, boy, and my own immediate family at home, would it cause blow-ups? Oh, dear Lord. It would cause probably a third world war. I keep them to myself. I said, what good would it be? That light right on my glasses. I had to stay in the shade anyway. I can feel it when I get out here. That my skin just starts, I can just feel it. It just feels like it just starts puckering. It's a chemo, and I guess I'm going to have swollen feet and legs, and big old blotches here. And I didn't have all these blotches on my. That camera last night, it showed me I had blotches like. I don't have blotches on my face.
No, you don't. It was just the light. It made it look like your eyes were sunken in too, and they're not.
They are when I don't have glasses. There's something back. I know I look bad. My mother always said you can't make a silk purse out of sow's ear. That was another one of her sayings. Meaning you can't take something that's artificial and make something for real out of it. And I wish you well, but I worry about you.
Well, I can take care of myself. I have been this long.
Yeah, but the world wasn't, when you started, it wasn't like it is now, Stephen.
No, but fortunately I've had a chance to get some knots along.
In 2 years, this is the 3rd year, I think. And boy, has it grown. The hair's got to give it water. It has not had no water this week that I know of. And it's not large enough yet that it can supply itself without running for water. This thing got hurt so much, I don't know how it can do anything. Harry took a root 5 feet long in the summer. I says, Harry, you don't cut roots in the summer. You wait until the sap goes. I know what I'm doing. And then on the back side, here come a big truck with a backhoe, they call it. They took a splice out of that long, about that wide. It's almost woven back. It's still about that much. And there it sat with being exposed to the elements. Oh my goodness, my goodness. Those things I go out in the yard whenever I used to work in the yard, they'd follow me around. And I'd do that. And we had one year. I guess he was a bachelor. There wasn't enough wives to go around. He'd follow me around in the yard. And he'd turn his head and talk to him. And I found him one morning on the ground. I guess maybe he got some kind of insecticide or something. He was dead. We'll just go to another country because it would spread like ball would roll. The old folks would get a hold of it. Tammy flooded his food down in and tell her workers. And Esther would use it. And it wouldn't do any good. It would break your father's heart. And Darlene would get a lot of mileage out of that.
Yeah, I'm sure she would. She's a good martyr.
Well, I found that out. I used to worry to death when she'd write and tell me about something. I told her, I said, I'm worrying for nothing. I said, that girl's always having a crisis. But Dad made things winning under here for a long time. This was his home. Oh, I should have went around it. Got my flowers and dug them all up. Hers over there is spread out, is blooming. And look at this. I believe he's been along here since, or has he?
I don't think so.
He's uprooted them so much they just one day just won't bloom. Which one of these windows did you scrape and paint? This one?
All of them.
No, I'm talking about the basement.
I know, all of them. Just the bottom is all I had to do.
Well, you said they's in good shape. You didn't have to paint them. Living room, dining room together is about half as big as ours, and it's not fenced and not hardwood floors. The only thing that's drawn back on ours is it's got one bath. We had to put wires around here. The rabbits just love morning glories. They will eat them down to nothing. They love morning glories. And I do like morning glories. This is so pretty. When it gets up like this, Harry puts a wire over it like this, and it cascades. And it is so pretty. Something someone needs to do with it. I painted this fence about 5 or 6 years ago, and it's held up to now, but now it's getting rusty spots. And I can't do it. It keeps me off no end. Somebody's making me a meal out of this. I think this is snails.
You know.
And it's not a smell that this one would be obnoxious. It gets so strong, like gardenias. But that is just a very subtle smell that lays on the breeze. Those artificial, those nicotine artificial tobacco is what it is. Well, I'm going down here. I didn't have no more. This is your pretty mustache with all just different colors. Sound like I can hear talking to somebody. I heard that and I thought you was talking to somebody.
Hopefully we may see a few. How could you improve such a perfect head? With butter, of course. Oh, it looks like you caught all Leonard's got. Sweet talking his corner. Go to the store and butter up your veggies Leonard's way. They'll love you for it, because nothing makes them taste better. Sponsored by America's Dairy Farmers, American Dairy Association.
Did I tell you I drew the plans for this kitchen?
Mm-hmm. Can you demonstrate?
I told the man, I says, I want a table here. See, we didn't have this porch when we first had this kitchen done. Harry and I would eat in here then early in the morning. We didn't have a dining room. We had that table we got out there. I don't think I got straight fully on out. Let's just come up. He wants to see it. I think it's full.
It's stuck.
Is it stuck?
Yeah.
Maybe we put it back on the work. And that was a leg. That was my idea. He says, I don't know how I'm going to do that. I says, put a piano hinge on it. This is what you call a piano hinge.
That's how you do it. It's been so long since we used it.
I told him, I says, I want this. I says, where's my mixer? That's when I used to do a lot of baking. Comes up and I says, it rides on, I called it a dog or a trike. One man didn't know what I was talking about. I told him, I says, I want you to take this out and I want a pass-through there. And that's not a pass-through, it's loaded down with everything. He couldn't see it. He says, I don't know. He says, well, why don't you do all that enough? And I told him, and I wanted more space to the right of the stove, but that's all I could get. Because I'm a right-hander and I like where I can work to the right of the stove. And he says, well, now how your stove? I said, well, I can get a 30-incher and that's going to be tight. And I says, put your drawers in, stagger your drawers this way at an angle. I drew the plans on this. Harry told me, says, you can't get all that in there. See, this is all storage. All of up there is storage. When I go get a refrigerator, I measure all that hole and everything to be sure that, because the one we got, it came up higher. And this is storage for, it's supposed to be for. And it's just canned stuff, vinegar, molasses, what have you. It needs to be straightened out, but they don't stay for it that way very long. When we straighten it out, we get it and kind of go around through it like a. And everybody that they say that this kitchen would sell, could make a house sell, because a woman, well, not the young women, because they don't spend much time in the kitchen. But an older person would like this kitchen. I gotta have some OJ. First time I've had trouble with my sugar kind of dropping. Just go ahead and shoot away. I'm going to sit down. I'm surprised your dad didn't get he's always pretty prompt. He's
Correct.
He's prompt.